Look what just came in the mail. This is Appleton's School Reader, 5th Reader. Now, in an earlier video, I talked about how kids in 5th grade in the late 1800s were reading things like Shakespeare and Benjamin Franklin. Well, they were reading out of the Appleton School Readers. These were a little bit trickier for me to find. Of course, you can find them in archives and things like that, but I wanted like a hard copy to look at. Let's take a look and see what they were reading in 1882 from the Appleton School Reader. This is the 5th Reader for 5th graders. And look at that, it says 1880 on that, but look at how beautiful that handwriting is. The very first thing is How I Learned to Write Prose by Benjamin Franklin, which I believe actually comes from his autobiography from 1773, which if you have not read that, it's delightful. And the language is actually not that hard to get through. From a child, I was fond of reading, and all the little money that came into my hands was laid out in books. Pleased with the Pilgrim's Progress, my first collection was of John Bunyan's works in separate little volumes. I afterwards sold them to enable me to buy Burton's historical collections. They were small books, cheap, 40 or 50 in all. And this reading goes for roughly 5 pages. If you look in the rest of the table of contents, there's authors from William Shakespeare to Thoreau to Dickens, Lord Byron, Daniel Webster, Victor Hugo, Wilson, Bailey, and a lot of them, as I was flipping through it, are excerpts from other work. But the question I have is if we compare this to what our 5th graders are reading now, where do we stand? A lot of 5th graders who are still reading Captain Underpants. These kids were reading Shakespeare, which the language was hard for them too. But when it's presented at a young age, children can grasp it. They're not stupid. Question I have for us is, as parents, are we setting the example? Are we reading beautiful works of literature, or are we just reading garbage? And are we reading to our kids? That's the key. Is we as parents have got to be reading to our kids, and we as parents have got to be reading ourselves. We can change the whole literacy epidemic we have in our country if we as adults make a decision to be better.